In a small compound somewhere in Africa lived a boy named Emeke and his mother. Now, Emeke believed his mother had two personalities. The first one was the loving mother who cooked the best jollof rice in the entire street. The second one was the woman who could turn any object in the house into a disciplinary weapon. And unfortunately for Emeke, that second personality showed up quite often. One Saturday afternoon, Emeke was outside playing football with his friends. The sun was shining, the boys were shouting, life was perfect. Then suddenly they heard it. Emeke! The voice echoed across the compound like thunder. Every African child knows that kind of call. Not the friendly call, the full name call. Immediately, Emeke's friends began slowly backing away. One of them whispered, "Guy, you're on your own." When Emeke entered the house, his mother stood there holding the most powerful disciplinary tool known to African children, a slipper. "Did you sweep the house?" she asked. Emeke looked at the ground. "Did you wash the plates?" Silence. 5 minutes later, the entire compound heard the legendary African parenting soundtrack. Pap, pap, pap. But something strange always happened after moments like that. 10 minutes later, his mother would call him again. "Emitre, come and eat." And somehow his plate would have extra meat. That confused him every single time. But discipline wasn't the only thing Emeke had to survive. There were also the comparisons. One evening, Emeke sat at the table struggling with his mathematics homework. Numbers were dancing on the paper. Suddenly, his mother appeared beside him. She looked at the notebook. Then she sighed this sigh of all African mothers. "Emeke, look at your cousin Chinedu." Emeke had never even seen this cousin Chinedu before. But according to his mother, Chinedu was doing incredible things. Chinedu is first in his class. Chinedu reads 2 textbooks every week. Chinedu even helps his teacher mark scripts. At that point, Emeke was convinced that Chinedu might secretly be a robot. But there were things Emeke didn't notice back then. Every morning before sunrise, while he was still sleeping, his mother was already awake, cooking breakfast, preparing his uniform, packing his school bag. Then she would go to the market and sit for hours selling food just to save enough money for school fees. Sometimes she came home tired, but she never complained. She only said one thing: "My children must go further than me." And of course, there was morning devotion. In Emeke's house, sleeping during morning prayer was not allowed. At exactly 5:30 a.m., his mother's voice would fill the house. "Wake up, it is time to pray." Emeke would sit there half asleep while his mother prayed with all her heart. For protection, for wisdom, for a better future for her children. At the time, Emeke thought it was just another strict rule, but it was something deeper. Years later, Emeke grew up and left home. Life became harder. Responsibilities arrived. One evening, he returned home to visit his mother. She was in the kitchen, cooking quietly like she had done his entire childhood. Her hair had a few strands of grey now. Her movements were slower. And suddenly, Emeke understood something he had never understood before. The woman who once chased him with slippers was the same woman who had spent her whole life protecting his future. Every scolding, every comparison, every early morning prayer, every sacrifice. It was never about punishment. It was always about love. You see, African mothers may not always say the words, "I love you." Instead, they say, "Have you eaten? Where are you? Call me when you reach." Their love is not always soft. Sometimes it is loud. Sometimes strict. Sometimes misunderstood. But it is strong, fierce, and unbreakable. So now we want to hear from you. What's the most unforgettable thing your African mother ever did while raising you? Was it the discipline? The comparisons? Or those early morning prayers? Tell us in the comments. And if you enjoy stories that celebrate African families and culture, subscribe to the channel, because the next story might sound exactly like your own home.